Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Organized Labor and the Minister of Labor and Employment, were in a closed-door meeting, but it had to adjourn. No agreement, shall we say, was reached, and so they had to adjourn. Well, of course, talking about the strike, well, that's what they were talking about, seeing how they could avert it, but no clear direction in that regard was reached, and so it's pretty much something of a status quo. But newspapers are reporting, some newspapers are reporting that the proposed strike is in abeyance. Okay, so we have Comrade Kehinde Adegoke here. He's TUC PRO, Trade Union Congress PRO, Lagos State Council. Thank you very much, Comrade, for coming on.
Thank you, Uncle Yori.
I know that indeed you're very welcome, sir. You and Labour, you've been very, very busy since yesterday. The last we heard when we had Abiodun Aladiton on, TUC Secretary of the Lagos State Council, he had said that the directive that had come down, since all of you sort of operate in a coordinated way, was that mobilize for either a strike or a lockdown. Now, as I said, at least one newspaper is reporting that the proposed strike is in abeyance. Maybe I thought that since you people have been meeting overnight, what is the latest exactly? The strike is in abeyance. It's not going to happen on Monday anymore.
Well, I'm not aware of that, and I'm not sure we have such. That's an obnoxious information, and that's a cheap propaganda. We don't have such in our organs, in our structure. The chain of command has not come to give us such information, so we don't have such information. The directive we have is we should mobilize, we should prepare. So that's exactly what we are doing. We are preparing, we are mobilizing.
And of course, you'll be monitoring the meeting that was on between the minister and representatives of Labour.
Definitely.
And so far,
we are doing that.
And so far, nothing has changed, is what you are saying.
Well, we have not been given otherwise directive. The directive is that we should mobilize, we should prepare. And that's exactly what we are doing now.
And to prepare, mobilize and prepare for what? Because yesterday we was almost like splitting hairs. Are you mobilizing for a strike or a protest?
Both of them. Both of them.
You mean the two could
Pari
actually...
passu. Both will be going pari passu.
That is to say, if it indeed comes to that, we hope it doesn't, but if it indeed comes to that, then while the strike was on, there would also be a peaceful protest.
Exactly. There's going to be peaceful protest nationwide.
Unless the word comes down that, okay, we're in abeyance.
Unless there is a reversal.
From the command, from the chain of command.
Exactly. And that is to say that government has agreed to reverse the hike in the tariff for electricity and PMS.
Okay. Now the way, the meeting would have centered around the very last two, the very two things that you mentioned. And the meeting with government, the minister, was said to be seeking to better explain and persuade Labour about the needs to go the way we have gone.
Well, it's unfortunate when you are dealing with recalcitrant authority. They know ab initio that Labour should have been carried along before taking the decision they took, and that was not done. And now, well, we are talking now, and I don't think it's fair to Nigerians for government to have taken such decision. We don't know why. Perhaps maybe it's one of those conditions given to them by the vendors that gave some loans, some funny loans that has to do with infrastructures and that is already creating dilemma in the country that we don't know if those loans are not judiciously used, that the people could take over some parts of our country. I mean, the area of the loan or the structure or the infrastructure the loan is supposed to be used for. Perhaps maybe those are some of the conditions given to them. We don't know, but they are yet to really open up to us for us to really know exactly, because I don't see any reason or how anybody would think Nigerians will cope now. We we are yet to even see the end of COVID. Thank God the impact on us in Nigeria and Africa is not as much as is in Europe and other parts of the world. But what is happening?
Yeah, but
Our,
government claims that the figures don't add up and that government cannot afford to subsidize these two areas anymore.
how many times are we removing subsidy? We are all in this country. How many times have we heard about removal of subsidy? Well, maybe in stages, I don't know. But then the issue is we are talking about PMS, and there are some other products that are supposed to come out from this stuff that God has blessed us with. But this is an industry that for how many years we've been talking about the bill of the industry, petroleum industry bill. As of today, I think we have about 4 versions of that bill. How do people invest in such an environment, such sector, where there is no rule of engagement? If you are to be an investor, will you put your money in such an environment? If government wants to deregulate totally, we are not saying no to that, but not now.
Okay.
Not now. And if they want to deregulate, they should first bring out the rule of engagement. They should pass the bill. From the count, I think I've been able, about 4 versions I've been able to count. I don't know now, maybe it's up to 5. And even when we are talking about the petroleum industry bill, you won't know what version they are talking about. Each time they talk about it, the first question I ask is, what version of the bill? Is it the first, the second, the third, the fourth? The government need to let us know. The House, they need to let us know. And which one is the correct, which one is the real bill? And nobody want to put money into, an environment that you don't know the rule of engagement.
Well, okay.
I think the best way to go is, you see, I want to quote Dr. Neil Woodruff of Congress WBN. He says that if your process does not validate your destination, then you need reformation. We need to reform that sector. We need to have the bill. We need to know the bill we are talking about, and we need to have that bill. Now, let's identify one bill. Let us follow that bill to logical conclusion and have the law. Once we have the law, then our process will validate our destination.
Okay.
Then we will know where we are going. And then, and also, during this process, even if government want to remove them totally, then private investors can come. They can even talk about taking over the refineries and turn it around, and then we can process and take care of ourselves and even export. Okay. But not where there is no rule of engagement. We are talking about deregulation. How do you deregulate without rule of engagement?
Okay, one moment, please. Mr. Joshua in Irewale, thank you very much, sir, for calling in.
Uncle Yori, good morning.
Good morning.
And good morning to your comrade.
Yeah.
I will just appeal to Labour to engage with government. You see, this strike or protest is not an effective tool in Nigeria. It may be working elsewhere. It's not working in Nigeria. You go on strike, you revert to the status quo, and then 2 months down the line, everything is in abeyance, it's in confusion and all that. Your strike is not working. You see, Labour can be using the tool of strike to agitate for their salaries and all that. But they should know that money has no economic value. 30,000 then, maybe it's your program, Uncle Yore, I told them, if they're asking for 30,000, very soon that 30,000 will be eroded. This idea of you are adding money to salary is not useful. Labour has turned this thing to agitation for salary again. 30,000 is not enough. Even if they give them 100,000, it is not enough. Uncle Yore, subsidy is a corruption-ridden name. Let us remove it from this country, Nigeria. Subsidy, remove it. Remove it. Let us suffer. Let us suffer. Labor, let us suffer.
Okay.
Let us suffer now.
All right.
Go to somewhere. Subsidy should be removed from whatever name it is in Nigeria.
Okay.
It's a corruption-laden name. Please.
All right. Okay, thank you very much, Joshua in Irewale. His premise there is that, quite frankly, it's a difficult action, and probably now is the best time to take it. The longer we delay, the harder it becomes. Just going from the main plank, which is that we don't agree that you should remove subsidy. Effectively, that's what you're saying, not that you put it in those words.
Well, my brother, if you listen to me very well, I quoted the saying of Dr. Noel Woodruff of Congress of ABN. He says that, I'll repeat it again, that if your process does not validate your destination, then you need reformation. The process, our process in this country is not validating our destination.
How do you mean
You are
by
traveling
that?
to Ibadan, you are facing Badagry. There is no way facing Badagry will lead you to Ibadan. It's not possible. It's not possible. You see, nobody is saying government should not remove subsidy at all. Nobody is saying that. If you listen to us very well, what we are saying is that let us have rule of engagement. Let us have the petroleum industry bill. Let us even know the one we are talking about. Let us identify one so that we know the content of that one, and then the rule of engagement. We have public hearing, we all look at it critically together, and then once we agree in the House and the law is passed and we know what it is, then investors will invest.
Okay.
Investors will invest, and then we can deregulate totally. And while that is ongoing, you know, I mean, while that process is ongoing, we can rejig the refineries, or we allow private investors to take over. And then what we are talking about will become history, because then we know that we know our destination and we are facing our destination. Okay. But as long as we continue to do the same thing the same way, and we expect to get a different result, it's only a mad person that will continue that way.
Comrade, let me put it like this. Whereas one of the things that you are saying, that you have said this morning in relation to government and labor, is that they didn't carry labor along in a timely manner when they should have. So exactly. now you are talking. You've made that point. Might you say that? Do you think it would be a legitimate observation too that, well, what is the extent to which labor is carrying the general public along as well? Because, as you know, there are divergent opinions out there as to whether this strike, even though it is a painful action, I don't think there are very many people who actually are celebrating that they need to pay more for very, very basic and important necessities. But are you sure that you have the pulse of the general population on this, since this will affect the general population, your strike, your protest?
Okay, Ori, you need to go on the street. Maybe your reporters need to go outside and sense the pulse of the people. Sense the people. You see that people are complaining.
Okay. People
are seriously complaining. Of course, PMS in Nigeria, as it is today, go and see how much is the transport fare?
I understand. So
everything is affected. There is no commodity you touch that is not affected, because transportation of goods, transportation for workers to go to the offices, a number of people are losing jobs, and even for people to transport themselves from home to their offices, a number of manufacturers have called down the number of workers, and even those that they have, some are on half salary.
I hear you. Okay.
And despite that, the cost of transportation for them, those that are on half salary, for them to leave home and go back home, it's a lot of money.
So actually, another very important thing that Labour is stressing, and by the way, we've been joined by Comrade Fumi Sesi, who is NLC Chair, Lagos Chapter. Perhaps I should direct this question to her. Another thing that Labour seems to be saying is that the best case scenario for this, good morning, Comrade Fumi Sesi, is that this is not the right time. Would you agree? Is that basically what you're saying, that this is not the right time?
Well, we have seen that we have been very patient before we took this decision to commence the total and indefinite protest and strike action from Monday, September 28th. We did not just jump into conclusion. We were also foot dragging, probably whether the government will resign its decision, and government will see the sense of reasoning, and government will also feel the pulse of how Nigerians have been feeling the pains of the ripple effect of not only the COVID-19 pandemic, but the all their policies that are not people's policies. They are anti-people's policies. We have seen the situation in which the labor was trying not to be dragged into a situation where the government will accuse the labor of also adding more to the economic downturn in the country. But what do we have? Other countries, other advanced and developed countries, even also in Africa, what you see is that they have been trying to cushion the effect of the negative effect of pandemic. They have been trying to give so many palliatives to their citizens. But in Nigeria, instead of helping the people to get back to the new normal, to get their lives back, Nigerian has been, the government has been adding to the pain of the people.
Okay,
Such,
comrade, could I just comment, comrade? What the news? Some newspapers, well, at least I've seen one newspaper. There might be more. Have reported is that the meeting that was adjourned will be resumed on Monday, and that in the meantime, the action previously called for Monday was in, the word used was abeyance. Would you comment on that?
Thank you very much. Our comment is that we have started the mobilization and we have given the government an ultimatum that come 28th of September we will commence our strike, and nothing is going to stop us.
But you are still talking, comrade. You are still talking, even right now. You're still technically in talks, because the meeting that was adjourned is said to be that it will resume on Monday. So technically, you're still in talks.
That will not be possible. That will never be taken by all of us. Even Nigerians cannot be taken for a fool. You can fool us all the time, but you can never fool us. You can fool us sometimes, but not all the times. So we know that these are the antics that government and all their negotiators, this is what they always use. Why waiting until Monday?
So you are questioning government. You are questioning government sincerity.
We are not going to be taken for a fool.
So you're
at all time.
You're questioning government.
And Nigerians are also ready. This is not about the workers. This is about the generality of Nigerians. This is about all of us. This affects all of us.
Comrade, on that point that you've made, comrade,
increase in the VAT, we have the ripple effect on everything in Nigeria.
Indeed.
The hike in electricity and the hike in the PMS prices, we have ripple effect on everybody. Either you are in labor or you are a citizen, you are poor masses, even you are a rich person, it will have effect on everything and everybody.
Okay.
So we are not going to be taken for a fool. We will go all out on Monday.
Okay.
Let the government do the needful before 12 a.m. on September 28th. If not, they will see us on the street. We are ready.
Okay.
We are fully mobilized.
Maybe a question that I asked your comrade in here, because we have Comrade Kehinde Adegoke of TUC in the studio. The question we had asked him is that, whereas one of the things you are saying as Labour, as a body, is that government didn't carry you along when they should have, even though you are talking now. So I was asking him to the extent to which he felt, and I'm putting the question to you too, that Labour has also carried the public along, because there seem to be divergent views that it's a difficult action, but we've got to bite the bullet now so that we can be rid of subsidy and its attendant corruption and all of that. What would you say to that? That Labour itself, did Labour carry the generality of the public along? Because there are some people who are saying that the strike is not going to make much difference.
Yes, you can never have the same reason from everybody. Some people will have different opinions, and we cannot take them up on their opinions. It's their own personal view and their personal opinion. But go out there, the general view and the general opinion of Nigeria is that Nigerian is going down, and it's our government that is dragging it down. Has this government, have they ever fulfilled any of their campaign promises to Nigerians?
Okay. Let me take a call
Have
from
they
the
ever
UK.
fulfilled their
Let,
campaign
me
promises?
let me take a call that came in from the UK. Good morning, Mr. Maduka.
Good morning, Chief Yore.
Good morning, sir.
I'm happy to be with you again today, particularly for the fact that you are featuring there my little boy, Chief Adegoke, there with you.
That's my boss.
Adegoke, my greeting. This is Miss Ugu.
Ogami.
You know him?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, then. Yeah, please carry on quickly, Mr. Maduka.
Okay. The topic now is so sad that really the Nigerian government is doing what they're doing right now. This is a very, very wrong time to do a thing like this. Just like the young man was trying to explain, any other part of the world is thinking of how to cushion the effect of COVID on its citizens. But now, as good as it may sound, oil subsidy has been a problem for us. But I want to advise you, my young man, Adegoke, with what Nigerians are afraid of is that this action the labor union is about taking is another way of asking government for more money for the workers. I want you people to prove Nigerians wrong by sticking to the ideology of making government to change their decision, not because you want more money in your purse, but because this is wrong at this time, particularly the issue of electricity tariff. Oil subsidy must go, but electricity tariff is an issue that needs to be looked at seriously. These companies that picked up this electric distribution in Nigeria, when they were picking it up, they said they had money to run it. Government had been giving them money. Why would they not, first of all, ensure that they supply electricity to Nigerians before they begin to think of hiking the price? Meters are not anywhere. Nigerians are paying for services unrendered, which is killing.
Okay. Thank you.
Very, very wrong.
Thank you.
I will advise the labor union, my dear Adegoke, for you people to insist that government should impress on these service providers to make sure that they collect money for services they render.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maduka, for calling in. Appreciate your call. Sort of wanted to free the line in case anybody else wanted to call in. Comrade Sesi had addressed the question in part, I think, and it was the question about people might not see, not all people might see the purity of your motive. That, here is Labour again coming along, asking for more money, but you are, and so Mr. Maduka was saying that you need to be very careful how you go about things so as to persuade, the people that indeed what you are fighting for is altruistic, more than anything else.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank Mr. Ugu Maduka for adding his voice to what is happening in the country, even though he's over there in the United Kingdom practicing there. Well, we have not said we are asking for anything more than the 30,000 minimum wage, because that's part of the struggle, because a number of states are yet to comply with the minimum wage directive. But what we are saying is that the hike in PMS and electricity tariff is not a good time at all.
Okay, comrade, let me interrupt you, but I beg your pardon for doing so. Mazi Okorafor has come on. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, Mr. Kende. Good morning, Mr. Jody.
Good morning, sir.
Honestly, it's the issue of strike by Monday, whether the government went to court or not, that one is not with them. But what I want the government to know is that, or the labor people, is that personally, I am not happy with the labor. One, I was expecting labor people to say that's proactive action when they had that announcement of the PMB and the fuel and the what do they call it, at least to be taking action within 48 hours. If they are taking action within that 48 hours, all this issue of lingering will not happen. Now, do you know what is happening now? When I saw some people on the television, I said, who hired these boys to come and start demonstrating that they are people of the government? I said, as you see the type of country we are, some children will just come and see that the youth of today and tomorrow, who's supposed to think positively, they will see that somebody will hire them and say, come and start protesting against what the labor people are saying. But the labor people have to be very careful because, one, Nigerians are tired of all this suffering. When you go there, check statistics or do a research work has come out with the government meeting that show that many people, many Nigerians, both workers and non-workers, still are not skilled, people are not. Frustration are written on people's faces.
Okay.
Depression are written on people, hunger. Now, when you see human beings, like ordinary taxi you enter, just a little, maybe you match somebody, you start there to flee up because of what frustration are happening. Now, what do we do? I was expecting Labour to face reality. You saw what happened in Kenya 3 days ago. The Supreme Court judges sat down, all the data, they gave the head of state, Kenya, 21 days ultimatum to do what? To meet up what they said, gender inequality in Kenya. What did they mean by that? That the government in Kenya is not following the constitution. Now, what happened here in Nigeria? Now, 21 days they gave the Kenyan president. They said after that 21 days, he failed to dissolve the parliament. That day too, the Supreme Court will now go into action that all this, any decision they take by the National Assembly is null and void. Now, the labor in Nigeria, what are you people doing? Don't you have constitution in Nigeria where they follow the constitution? Oil is being produced in Nigeria. All these modular filling stations and the finance, what the government doing? In each state you go in Nigeria, you see at least 50 Nigerians that are very richer than the state budget. Now, what are the government doing? The labor people, they see all this, they stand there.
Okay, well, one moment. Comrade, I beg your pardon. Mazi, I got to interrupt you now. I beg your pardon, but thank you very, very much for calling in, Mazi. You left quite a number of points there. And I wanted Comrade Sesi to react to some of them. Maybe the most important, well, the one that stuck out in my mind, not Comrade, he might be a comrade, but Mazi Okorafor. No, I don't think he can be a comrade and a Mazi at the same time. But Comrade Sesi, Mazi had said yesterday, and he said it again today, that if Labour had reacted in a more timely fashion within 48 hours of, government, as it were, laying down the plank on this, then it might have been a different thing. Do you have any insights into why it has taken Labour this long to indeed come out with a position?
Yes, because you know that Labour, we have our organs, our different organs, and the president cannot just take a decision on his own. We need to take the organs one after the other, and then we need to also go out to the town to also get the opinion of the people, to see whether Nigerians are ready to say no to some obnoxious policies of this government. So that was why we took some time, because you see, the people have been, their lives has been so eroded in a way that even all these bad government policies, people are just taking it by the pinch of the hand. They are just looking at it that, well, this is part of the, and so many Nigerians have become politicians to the extent that they don't even know that their privileges and their rights have been taken away from them.
Okay.
So Labour, this is not so peculiar to Labour alone, and it's about the generality of the Nigeria. We need to feel the impulse in the town before we go out to declare.
As far as it concerns engaging with the general populist part of that position, I don't know. The people, there seems to be some sort of an idea that informed people are understanding that there's a need. This is one of those measures that nobody, quite frankly, likes, but that there are excuses possible from a status quo. People are saying, let's bite the bullet. So I wonder, the people that are calling in seem to be counseling in this line. Unfortunately, it would appear that those that are saying that indeed it's a strike that we must go with a strike, for some reasons, those are not calling in. So that's the best way I can put it. They might exist in their numbers, but for some reason, they are not calling in. What you get is people calling in and, talking about a voice of caution, a voice of reason. Could you explain that phenomenon? Because both you and your colleague comrade here, have said that there's a part of your consultation that concerns the general public.
Yes, thank you so much. You see, that's what one of the problems that we have in this country. Nobody want to bear the cat, and it's easy to send someone to go and do the work of the devil. But Nigerians, when it comes to this issue of let us fight the government, let us talk about the so many people will want to sit in the comfort of their homes. They will not come out to join, and yet they will come out to be condemning the NLC about issues that involves everyone's life.
Okay.
They want NLC to take the bull by the horn, and yet they will not be there to support the decisions and everything that we want to carry out in favor of Nigerians, and not particularly about the workers that we lead. But having said that, we still have to do the needful. We will not be concerned with some of the populace that are politicians that are eating from this government, and that their values and their virtues have been taken away from them, and yet they want to come out to connect, like that faceless body that said they went to get injunction. That injunction cannot work.
Okay, one moment, comrade. One moment, comrade. Abu Inikeja, good morning, and thank you for holding on. Go ahead now.
Hello, good morning, Ankiori.
Good morning, sir.
Ankiori, it's very, very sad. Nobody wants to take this labor serious. Just they want to stop us, because we know say.
Carry on, please.
Ankiori, nobody wants to take them serious. We know say what in they do. We know if you look deep in, look and where well say we know say they know they fight for Nigeria. Allah. Nobody wants to take them serious, because you see, today in a meeting, next tomorrow in a meeting, and they say they will suspend them, say this one are called, this matter. Now God go help us, because nobody, even in society, nobody believe in anybody again. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Abu. Interesting. Would you like to comment on that? Because I heard Abu clearly, but I didn't quite understand when he said nobody's taking. I don't know if he was being supportive, and I think he was. I think he was supportive of your cause. I'm going to stick my neck out a bit, risk it, and say that he was supportive of your cause, but maybe because of some of the comments he's heard from the general public, he's saying that in spite of the fact that you are actually fighting for the people, people are not...
nobody really know the direction.
That nobody wants to take you people seriously.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. There is this, there has been this trust deficit. But as it is, we have taken the bull by the horn. We have done consultation, and people don't trust the government. And maybe one of the reasons people seems not to trust Labour so much is because they feel, oh, maybe the moment they settle Labour leaders, this noise will go down.
Okay.
But we are all living in Nigeria, but the issue is everybody is not corrupt that way. It's not everybody that goes with the general value deprivation.
Okay.
But instead, I will tell you that there are people that are ready, that are resolute, and I want to tell Abu that be rest assured we are using this opportunity to say no. We are saying our blood is thicker than water and we will not be moved. Okay. Let anybody go to court, go and take one injunction. Some of these things we know the voice of Esau, the hand of Jacob.
Okay, one moment, please. Let me bring in Nasiru. Nasiru is calling from Mowe. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Nakuyeri.
Thank you for calling in, sir.
Yeah, I agree with Mercy 100%, because our labor leaders too, they are not that proactive. Yes. Hello?
Okay, you're referring again to the fact that they didn't come on time.
Yes, I agree with Matthew on that, because they didn't come up on time. Because honestly speaking, Nigeria is not smiling for now. I said it times without number. I'm a strong supporter of APC. Hello?
Carry on, please.
I'm a strong supporter of APC, but what is happening now is the least expected. But notwithstanding, we will be praying for the government. All the same, Labour should be careful. Careful in the sense that this court injunction, Nigeria is a law-abiding, it's a lawful place. They should treat it according to the law, so that they won't go violating the rules of the land.
Okay.
If they are saying they want to come out on Monday, no problem. but they should be careful.
Okay.
We all have to respect the law of the land. That's just my own submission.
Thank you. Thank you very much for calling in. Comrade Comrade Fumi Sesi, how about that part of keeping whatever action you indeed decide upon legal? There is an injunction against it. You have commented in passing on the injunction, but surely Labour is also a law-abiding organization. Comrade Sesi, are you still with me?
Yes, please, I'm here.
Okay. I said, are you concerned about being legal in whatever action you decide upon, given that there is an injunction? And somebody has just said, Nasir has just said that Nigeria is a law-abiding country. I imagine Labour is also a law-abiding body as well.
If the federal government could take decisions without the involvement of all Nigerians that they represent, because this is a democratic government, they're supposed to, any of the government policies and the law, they're supposed to put the people into consideration. If the people are not put into consideration, you just bring about untold hardships to the people.
Yes.
Then, Constitution of Nigeria has stipulated that we have the right.
But there is a court injunction. I think her audio froze there. Okay, let me use the time to take Reverend Dominic. Good morning, Reverend.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Yori, honestly, if I have died a few days after 2015 election, I wouldn't believe we were still on this topic. Remember, we progressive occupied Okota because of subsidy. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We occupied Okota because of this subsidy. And our point those days is this, that if our refineries work, the subsidy will be expired. But if we produce in Nigeria and move for that cost or worry or whatever Kano and move to big stations, that all these, what they call land charges, discharges, off of it, we know what is the price. How can man produce water and go and buy water outside? If I died a few hours today, and this government has supported is still not have the refinery working. That's a sad story. That's a sad commentary. So have become a mess and insult to everybody. But how do you see? How is it on earth that Chad has a refinery? Nigeria has got this nation that produces good oil, have no one single refinery. You know what a magic is. Doesn't it be common sense? I mean, when we fought this battle, what we are saying that the refinery must work. But today, the refinery is not working. So, whether it's government, there's a mixed thing here. If Labour go on strike, the same people, it's like two elephants, the grass suffer.
Okay.
The people who come out from lockdown or lock up last 2-3 months ago, are going to enter the program of Labour. They are fighting the right cause. They should please, get down.
Okay.
I mean, how come on earth?
Reverend, we've run out of time, and I think we've got the entirety of your submission. Thank you very much, Reverend, for calling in, bemoaning the state of affairs. Well, we've got to close it on this particular subject. But just, is Comrade Sesi still with us? Comrade Sesi, you were going to, I was asking you about the legality of the impending action, if indeed that is the way it goes, given that there's an injunction against it. Very, very, very briefly, please, Comrade, what's your comment on that?
Thank you, Mr. Yori. We have the right to exercise our civil rights in Nigeria. By the Constitution of Nigeria, we can gather and have a peaceful protest. And that is exactly what is going to happen on Monday.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead and continue. So far, the government has not done the needful.
Okay.
The people, we are going to be the check and balances to this government that has caused so much affliction of pain onto the people.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Comrade. Comrade Sesi, we're going to have to leave it there. I know there's a lot more, but we do appreciate your making time for us this morning. Thank you very much, Comrade Fumi Sesi there, NLC chairman in Lagos. And in studio here, Comrade Kehinde Adegoke, TUC PRO, Lagos State Council. Indeed, we thank you also for your time and your perspectives on this particular action.
Thank you, Uncle Yori.
Indeed, our pleasure. Okay, so that's it. We'll take a break now. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. We had wanted to go on to another subject, but then, you know, those gremlins, now and again, they get into the works, and so that hasn't been too possible. And so we'll continue taking calls on the labor issue that we started the program with. Labor, at least saying from the people that we have spoken with this morning, the very latest we're hearing, admittedly from regional, bodies of labor, talking about the TUC Secretary, Lagos State Council, not Abiodun, Akinde, Adegoke, that is the PRO, Lagos State Council, and Comrade Funmi Sesi, NLC Chair, Lagos State Chapter. They have been saying that the strike definitely will go on Monday, even as the meeting between labor and government, as you know, had to be adjourned till Monday, which is the very day that labor says they will launch their operation. Now, there's an injunction against it. Labor doesn't seem to be pretty fazed by that, and so we were getting calls in. We can continue with the calls, even if we had actually had to let go of Comrade Sesi before now. So that's the situation that we have on our hands now. Government, the whole idea of the reapproachment between government and labor was to sort of maybe better persuade and broaden the presentation to labor so that labor could see it. But labor simply isn't seeing it. Labor, among other things, as you well know now, is saying that of all the times to launch this particular kind of these two actions, the two main ones being that one, the doubling in many cases of the electricity tariff. And so people who are paying 20-something naira per unit suddenly found themselves paying 50-something naira per unit. And it's arguable whether there's actually an improvement in the quality of electricity. Then there's the fuel thing. Government saying that we've got to take fuel out of the subsidy out of fuel entirely. Subsidy, reportedly, is simply a convenient vehicle for corruption, and we need to get rid of it. It's painful, but government says there's no alternative. In any case, government alleges it cannot even afford those subsidies. So, so there you go. It's one of those kind of days. Technology is what it is. Sometimes they tell you to go and then they tell you to come. So as I was saying to you that we're going to continue with this particular subject. The other subject that we would have spoken about, forgive my staccato going and coming, but we were going to talk about let's see now, President Buhari signing some time ago, very, very recently, around the 16th or so of the month, the Nigeria Police Bill 2020 into law. It's replacing the Police Act of 2004, I believe. And the idea, I don't know if that has actually worked out, was to have Honorable Yusuf Gagidi in studio. He represents Pangshin Kanke Kanam Federal Constituency of Plateau State. Good morning, Honorable Yusuf Gagidi. Did I say your second name right?
Yes, Gagdi, G-A-G-D-I. It's always difficult.
Yeah, thank you very much. I went and put a vowel in there. So I shouldn't have put the vowel in there. It's Gagdi. Gagdi.
Yes, Gagdi, yes.
Gagdi.
Yes.
Thank you very much for coming on, Honorable. Yes. Well, apologies that we couldn't actually connect with you earlier, but very, very briefly, it's replacing the Police Act, and it's supposed to enhance the work of the police. Just give us the main way in which this would indeed be the case and making the police more efficient.
Well, first, the efforts of the 9th House of Representatives, National Assembly, both the Senate and the House of Representatives to reform the Nigerian police is in line with the present administration desire to make sure that the Nigerian police is being reformed. And secondly, it's equally built based on the fact that the primary responsibility of every government is to provide security and welfare of its own citizens. And that is why the 9th National Assembly decided to consider the issue of reforming the Nigerian police to be of paramount importance. and looking at the issue of internal security affecting this country. And therefore, as a parliament, we felt it is quite important for us to consider in a very accelerated manner adjustment in the Police Act of 2004 that give birth to the present Police Act of 2020 that was signed last week by Mr. President, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But the main content of the amendment to the Police Act of 2020 that give birth to the 2004 that gave birth to 2020 Police Act is the fact that we look at it in the side of human rights as well as the side of providing legislation to the police that will enhance productivity, that will enhance their activity to be able to compute with the reality, with the policing all over the world.
Especially their funding. Especially their funding.
The funding. Not even funding. You don't look at funding alone. With funding, if the legislation did not equally empower them to discharge their duties effectively, even if you provide funds, they will not be able to do it.
Okay.
And that is why in the first instance, we try to look at what does Nigerian police want to be able to make sure that it is computed with policing all over the world. One, we introduced the issue of community policing, which is one of the primary programs of this administration under President Muhammadu Buhari, ensuring that there is community participation in policing in Nigeria.
Okay.
But in terms of information gathering, in terms of peculiarities of communities, states, and local government, the former way and manner within which police interact with communities, I don't think it's so coordinated in such a way that it warrant community participation.
Okay.
So with the introduction of sections in the new act that provide legal framework for community to participate with police in terms of, one, identifying what their problems are, two, in terms of relating with the police in giving information to how both the community and police can come together to sort out issue of crime and criminality based on peculiarities of communities. I think that legislation have taken care of that.
There's also,
welfare,
Honorable, there's also a matter of recruitment into the police force also received attention.
Yes, the matter of recruitment is one thing there that is quite paramount. There was an existing judgment regarding to recruitment between the Police Service Commission and the police force itself, where whose agency among those two intra-agencies is vested with the responsibility of recruitment. The new act have tried to draw line between what is the responsibility of police commission, service commission, as well as the police force. One, the Inspector General of Police is a strategic operational commandant of the police, and putting that into consideration and in line with the judgment of the Court of Appeal, the National Assembly decided to agree to the fact that the person that coordinates the activities of these operational officers knows the character he wants in the Nigerian police, and thereby drawing the line to give the absolute control over recruitment to the police force headed by the Inspector General of Police.
And speaking of the Inspector General of Police, and speaking about the Inspector General of Police, the Act now provides for a 4-year term for the Inspector General of Police.
Single term. Yes. If you look at in the past, from 1999 till date,
we've run out of time. We've run out of time, Honorable. I'm so very sorry. We've run out of time, but the Inspector General of Police now has a single term of 4 years.
4 years. Yes.
4 years
based
from
on
now.
The present act.
On the present act. I want to thank you very, very much, Honorable Yusuf Gagdi. I'll say it right.
Thank you.
Honorable Yusuf Gagdi. Thank you very much for coming on and speaking about the bill.
Thank you.
He sponsored the bill. Okay, so that's our program. Completely run out of time. Sorry about the going and coming a bit there, but we did get that bit in. I was going to say tomorrow, but no, it's Monday. We'll see you then, God willing. Do all you can to be safe in these times of COVID-19. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.